Today's notes are all about solving rate comparisons. So if you remember to our last page of notes, all about unit rates, just like this, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to solve for two unit rates, and then we're going to compare them and see which rate is better for real life. So it says that we're going to be filling things out. It's also all set up. So if you have this on paper, pause this video, go grab it, or you can use the file and print it. If you don't have a printer or you don't have this on paper, you can just open up your notebook and pause this video and copy it down. Okay, I'm going to be using a pencil. I'm going to use a black pen just so it shows up better. I'm also going to use a purple and a red. Even though this looks blue, I swear it's purple. So pause this video, get yourself ready, and then push play when you're ready. Okay, so let's read this setup here. So it says, just like with unit price to compare deals at the grocery store, we can use unit rates to compare different rates. So we're going to be doing a problem about menus and then a problem about typing today. Okay, so let's look at the restaurant problem first. I'm going to read this twice. The first time we're just going to read it and picture what's happening. The next time I'm going to grab my red and I'm going to mark up my problem so that I make sure and find all the important information. It says a restaurant hires 2 students to deliver menus around town. One student, Darla, delivers 350 menus in 2 hours. Another student, Drew, delivers 510 menus in 3 hours. The restaurant will give a $10 bonus to the fastest worker. Who gets the bonus? So I'm picturing these people. They've got piles of menus and they're driving around town or walking around town and they're handing them out. Now, we have Darla. She only walked for 2 hours, but she gave out 350 menus. It seems like quite a bit to me. Drew went for 3 hours. He handed out more menus, but since it took him longer, I'm not quite sure yet who is faster. So to figure out who gets our bonus, we got to figure out who's actually working the fastest. So I'm going to grab my pen. In my red, I'm going to mark up the things that are important. Let's read it again. A restaurant hires 2 students to deliver menus around town. I think that's important, but I didn't see any math information. One student, Darla, delivers 350 menus in 2 hours. Okay. I'm going to circle Darla, 350 menus, 2 hours. Another student, Drew, delivers 510 menus in 3 hours. Now, I already used circles, so I'm going to use boxes this time. Drew gets a box, 510 menus, and 3 hours. Okay. The restaurant will give the $10 bonus to the fastest worker. Who gets the bonus? I'm going to underline that with a squiggle. We got to figure out who is the fastest. I think maybe that word fastest could help too. Okay, now that I've gotten it all ready, I'm going to go to my regular pencil for this. So they've already set this up. They took Darla and they wrote down that she does 350 menus in 2 hours. So they took our information that we already circled and they put it into a rate. Now, we are going to simplify that down to just 1 hour, because if we do that, we will get her number for 1 hour. Then if we do the same thing to Drew and get him down to his rate for 1 hour, then we can actually compare them because they would have been going the same amount of time. So let's figure out how we got here. I'm going to draw my arrow from 350 to the blank spot and 2 hours down to 1 hour. Let's pick our math fact. How to get from 2 to 1 with a math fact? Well, I divided by 2. So I'm going to do the same thing on the top, divided by 2. I have no idea what 350 divided by 2 is, so I'm going to set it off up to the side. 350 divided by 2. I'm going to solve this. 2 goes into 3 once. It's 2 with 1 left over. Bring down my 5. 2 goes into 15 7 times, which is 14. When I subtract, I get 1 left over. I'm going to bring down my 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times. Exactly 10 and no leftovers. So I got 175 menus in 1 hour. Let's do the same thing to Drew and then we'll get to compare them and see who's faster. So again with Drew, draw my arrow, 510 menus down to my mystery number. 3 hours turns into 1 hour. Let's find my math fact. 3 divided by 3 equals 1 hour. So I must do the same thing to the top. 510 divided by 3. I'm going to set it up off to the side. 510 divided by 3. 3 goes into 5 once. When I subtract, there's 2 left over. Bring down my 1. 3 goes into 21 7 times. That's exactly 21. No leftovers. Bring down my 0. 3 goes in 0 times. Still 0. Still no leftovers. So he does 170 menus in 1 hour. So this is kind of interesting to me because if someone were a younger student, they might see that Darla did 350 and Drew did 510. And they're going to pick Drew because he did more menus. But we know as 6th graders that he took a longer amount of time. So when we simplified them both down to 1 hour, we actually noticed that Darla is faster because in 1 hour, she handed out 175 menus and Drew only hands out 170. So let's craft our answer using our pencil. So I'm going to put a big star next to Darla. She is our winner because she gave more menus per hour. So the bonus will go to Darla because she handed out 175 menus per hour. Remember, per means 1. And I'm going to even go a step further and compare her to Drew in my answer. She handed out 175 menus per hour, comma, but Drew only handed out hour. Okay. Let's try this same concept again using a new problem. So if you need to pause and copy this down, feel free to do that. Okay, this tells us to solve the next problem. I'm going to get my purple ready. Round your answer to the nearest hundredth. This means you need to solve for 3 decimal places and round to 2 places. So this must be one of those problems where the decimal goes on and on and on and on, but we only need to solve for the 2 places. So we'll solve for 3, round it to the 2. Okay. Now, let's read this first once through. Kelly and Kirsten are arguing over who types faster. Kelly can type 226 words in 3 minutes, and Kirsten types 532 words in 6 minutes. Who types faster and by how much? So I'm going to grab my purple and start marking. Kelly and Kirsten are arguing over who types faster. That's important, but I don't see any math words. Kelly can type 226 words in 3 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to circle Kelly, 226 words, 3 minutes. And Kirsten types 532 words in 6 minutes. So I'm going to use boxes. Kirsten, 532 words, 6 minutes. Who types faster and by how much? Okay, I'm going to put Kelly first, just because Kelly was listed first. Over here, I'm going to make this side for Kirsten. Okay. So let's write what we know. Kelly is 226 words. So I'm going to put 226. I'm going to do W for words. Then it says 3 minutes. So I'm going to put 3 MIN for minutes. Okay. Now over here on the right side, I know we still want to have words on top. So I'm going to put a W, and we still want minutes on the bottom. Okay. Now if we remember everything we've learned about unit rates, we don't want 3 minutes. We want to get her down to just 1 minute so we can compare. Let's do the same thing for Kirsten, and then we'll solve. So Kirsten up top has 532 W for words. Down below, she has 6 minutes. Let's get W on top on the other side and minutes on the bottom. Once again, we don't want her to do it for 6 minutes. We want to boil that down to just 1 minute. Okay, now we're ready to solve. So I'm going to switch back to my regular pencil, and I'm going to use my arrow method. So we want to get Kelly from 226 over here to this mystery amount of words. That means we go from 3 minutes down to 1 minute. Let's pick our math fact. 3 divided by 3 gets us to 1. So we are going to divide by 3 on the top. Okay, let's set up her division problem. 226 divided by 3. Now it told me that I have some decimals, so I'm just going to get my decimal and 3 zeros ready to go. Okay, 3 doesn't go into 2. 3 goes into 22 7 times. It's 21 with 1 left over. Let's bring down my 6. 3 goes into 16 5 times. That's 15 with 1 left over. Bring down my 0. 3 goes into 10 3 times. It's 9. We get 1 left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it over here. Let's bring down this 0 here. 10, okay, 3 times 3 again is 9. I'm seeing a pattern. We're going to bring down our 0. We get 10 again. It'll be 3 again. So I'm going to stop there. I got 75.333. Now I'm going to use my red and just underline. If I look 2 places, I see a 0.33, and this 3 says stay down. So she is 75.33 words per minute. We did a little rounding, but that's the closest we can do. Let's try the same thing for Kirsten. Arrow from 532 over to the mystery. Arrow from 6 down to 1. We must have divided by 6. Let's do it to the top. Divide by 6. Okay, let's set it up. 532.000 divided by 6. Let's see what we get. 6 doesn't go into 5. 6 goes into 53. Ooh, only 8 times, and that's 48. I'm going to count up. 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. That means there was a remainder of 5. Let's bring down my 2. Oh, 8 again. 8 times 6 is 48. If I count up, there was 4 left over. I'm going to bring down my 0. Although, if I paused here, some people have already realized who types faster, Kelly or Kirsten. But I'm going to continue with my math. 6 goes into 46 times. It's 36. 4 left over. I'm seeing a pattern. 6 goes into 40 times. 6, 36, 4 left over. Bring down my last 0. It would be another 6. I'm going to stop, put in my decimal. So 88.666, but this 6 tells this guy to go up 1, so it's 88.67. Okay. So I'm going to look at and see who types faster. So Kelly types 75.33 words in a minute, and Kirsten types 88.67. Kirsten is faster because she types more words. So let's craft our answer. The faster typer is Kirsten, because she types 88.67 words per minute. 75.33 words per minute. Okay. So that was a lot of math there. We solved 2 problems in one. We got a unit rate for Kelly, a unit rate for Kirsten, and then we could compare them. Feel free to pause this, rewind this, watch this as many times as you need to, and I can't wait to see what your notes look like.